Hello there, it's me Lauren with Bold Notion Quilting, and I wanted to share with you exactly how I planned and made the leaf design on the tartan kiwi zebra quilt pattern that I did recently. So what I did was I went ahead and drew a faux zebra stripe. Okay, so this outer black line right here, we're going to stitch in the ditch. This is our ditch of our zebra stripe. Once I had my ditch all stitched and stabilized, what I did was I took my my stunning straight edge ruler, which I'm using now, to make 45-degree lines and triangles so that I could make the leaves around. Now in the pattern on the zebra, the stripe gets smaller at the top and wider at the bottom, the zebra stripe. So in truth, when I first did these leaves, I was not sure exactly how they were going to turn out. Alright, so my stripe is ditched, and now that my space is secure, I'm going to go ahead and start drawing on the space before I'm using my marking pens to move the fabric. I'm just using a friction pen to draw these on here because I'm practicing. If this was on a real quilt, I absolutely would never ever use a friction pen because tried and true, these marks come back in the cold. They can discolor your fabric. There are so many things that can go wrong with so many versions of these friction pens that I will never recommend them for fabric. I'm pretty sure that the company even has on their pens, I don't know if it says not recommended for fabric, but it says, you know, recommended for paper. They're made to turn white with paper, not to be worked on with fabric. Anyway, so we're going to go ahead and mark the lines. So what I did was I have this stunning straight edge ruler, and it's got 45-degree lines on both sides. And I lined up my 45-degree line on my ruler with the edge of my stripe that I'm working with. And I marked the first line from the corner to wherever it hit at the 45-degree mark, and then I turned my ruler around and I lined up my 45 from the tip of my previous one and drew that line down, and then I turned my ruler around and I did 45 up, 45 down, okay? And then when there's a bend, there's a slight bend right in my zebra stripe. When I got to the bend, I used the line that I was going to continue on to line up my 45 to make my marking, and you're going to see that that triangle in the middle of that bend is a little bit smaller than the rest of it. So once I marked my 45-degree lines, I got out my Border Buddy circle ruler. So this is a circle ruler that you can find on boldnotionquilting.com. It's a single piece enclosed circle ruler, and it's held together with puzzles. It's got some arc lines and markings on it. And so it's made to just fit around any free motion quilting machine. They are 1/4 of an inch thick, so they're made for long arms. I should have some low shank in stock soon. When you use these, sometimes they're all custom made, so sometimes the fit is a little more loose, sometimes it's a little more tight. If it's a little more loose, the little tip would be to put a little bit of tape on here. Always when you use a ruler like this, so it doesn't slide around too much, use some grip tape, okay? That's going to help the ruler not to move. So when I got out my Border Buddy ruler, I had to select a circle that would be big enough to use. And the goal is to find a circle, and we know that when we're using rulers, you know, they're going to be a 1/2 inch smaller than the actual size that they are. So when you're looking at those circles, it has to be able to fit the ruler foot from one side to the other all the way at the edge. And this one does for the big one. So what we're going to do is we're going to line it up so that our ruler is touching our ruler foot, which is in the corner where our first 45-degree line starts. And we're going to line it up so that the edge of our circle meets about 1/4 of an inch away. So ideally when we stitch, it'll stop right in that point if we did well. Now I'm using purple thread, so you're going to see every little mistake that I make. So when I'm using my ruler, my power position, I really like to hold right over the puzzle pieces. I know nothing's going to go anywhere or pop up or feel weird. Okay? And what you're going to do is you're going to do the tops of all of the leaves first. Top. Now this is the one that was a little bit weird. It's a little bit smaller. When I marked my 45, I used this edge to line up my 45, so that's why it closed it off here a little bit smaller. Had I used my previous edge and continued to mark my 45, that line would have ended up over here, and it would have been super weird. So it looks a lot less weird if you make that triangle on the bend smaller than if you made that triangle wider. Now, as they get smaller, if you want to use a smaller circle, you certainly could. I'm just using the one that I know works for all of them, so I can make my way through. Just do a fake one here and travel. So then we're going to close off all of our circles, and we're just going to do the same thing. Have it meet in the top, and then if you're making a leaf, get a little leaf spine in there. Okay. And actually, you'd want to do them, if you're doing all your leaf spines at the top, you're going to want to do both of them when you're at the top. If you want to alter them, which I'm actually going to do now and see how that looks, you can do them at the top and then at the bottom. Okay, so then we're going to get this one to the top. And actually, alternating them might make them look a little more balanced when you're done quilting. Sorry, I'm got the camera in my way, so I'm not hitting everything as perfectly as I do when it's not. Okay, well, we'll make that bigger because the rest of them are bigger. So then when I'm all done, I can take this off. Now, if I wanted to switch sizes of circles as I'm quilting, I can stop with my needle down, pop this sucker off, put it into the other circle size that I prefer, close it on up, and then continue working. I still like to hold it with at least one part of my hand over the puzzle piece or over the step while I'm working, just because that's how I like to hold it. That grip tape helps to make sure it doesn't go anywhere. Now you can kind of get a feel for what the leaf design looks like, but what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and fill it in so that it pops just a little bit more. So what I did on the zebra quilt was I went ahead and just filled in with some back and forth. I turned on my quilt glide, which makes my needle work a little bit kind of like it's in unregulated mode, but it speeds up and slows down with me kind of like it's regulated too, so it's in between, and that's what I love to use when I'm using tight fills. If you're on a sit-down machine that doesn't have a regulator, it might be good for you to maybe turn up the speed of your needle a little bit so that you can get tighter, closer lines and move a little bit faster without elongating those stitches. It'll make everything sink in there a little bit tighter. And then the trick for a design like this is make sure that you get in that point. Okay, that's gonna make it look symmetrically right. So however you have to work it out, get one of those with it right in that dip. And then we'll look at this when we're all done. Now when I did this on my zebra, there was not space above the leaves. I hit the seams. But when you're filming, it's a little bit harder to make everything sit just right. So we're gonna go with the flow. So if you messed it up like me, instead of taking it out, just fill in above it and it'll look like you meant to do that. Okay, I gotta stop and replant my feet. And then I would ride the ditch to do the other side on the way down. And then of course, like these bottom ones are a little bit better hitting my line. So on the areas where you do get those to hit perfectly on your line, you just want to ride your ditch just a little bit till you get into your next triangle to fill it up. And I'll show you what it all looks like when we're all done. So I'm not being too careful to fill it in too consistently, but you get the idea. Had to switch my feet again. See the whole thing. So I hope y'all like this little tutorial. It's been a while since I've done a tutorial, but this is just, it's a lot of fun, and it just added a lot of pizzazz to my zebra, and I thought it would be fun to share with y'all. So just make sure if you're doing a design like this, you have a good ruler that you can use for the free motion quilting to get in that ditch, but also that has like a 45-degree marking line to make those leaves. And you'll see that my leaves change size from big to small, but because I used the 45-degree angle all the way across, and because I used the same circle size on my Border Buddy ruler, it all looks very consistent and very planned, like it's supposed to taper to smaller, and it goes well with the zebra stripe. So it was a lot of fun to quilt that, so I hope you enjoy this tutorial. Please give it a like and a share with your quilting friends, and if you're looking to get the rulers, you can visit boldnotionquilting.com for your Border Buddy circle ruler or your stunning straight edge ruler, and this one comes with or without a handle. Take care and happy quilting!